Hi there everybody, it's Rarity here from inkybutterfly.wordpress.com. Thank you very much for joining me today. If it is the first time you've visited my channel, please do click on that subscribe button, and if you tap the bell you'll be notified every time I post a video. I tend to do about 4 a week, so there's lots and lots to see. And today we are working with the Dandelion Wishes stamp set. This is one of the stamp sets in the annual catalogue. It's been around for a little while now, so I thought I'd get it back out and have a play with this. And this is the card we're going to make. So we're using an emboss resist technique to make this. Okay, I'm going to show you how we do that. Just put that over there for some inspiration. The bits and pieces that I've got already cut is a mint macaron card base. We've got a matting layer which is 4 by 5 3/4 in whisper white, and then this is the one we're going to do all our inking and stamping on, and this measures 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. So that's what we're going to work with. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to need is our Versamark ink. So Versamark is a clear sticky ink that we can use for embossing. It catches the embossing powder on there. You can use it by itself for the watermark technique, so you get like a tone on tone, but the most popular way to use this is with embossing powder, so we're going to use some of that. And then we've got the large dandelion cluster, and we've got the little seeds there ready to go as well. I'm just going to bring out my I've got a tray that I can catch all the excess powder in, and I'm going to run this powder tool over the project as well. That just removes any static and grease and stuff that might catch any of the excess powder and cause speckles. So we're going to do some generous inking of this stamp. Get that really well inked. If you tilt it in the light you will be able to see if you've got it all, because obviously it is clear. And then we're going to put this down somewhere. I've opted for a little above centre and left, so we'll do that again, straight down, and some nice firm pressure all over that block. Make sure we get a good image and lift straight up. And of course you can't see a fat lot because it is clear. You can see that it's there in the light. So that's the sort of watermark effect that you get. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to coat that in our white embossing powder. Okay, so just shake that over the top and tap off that excess. Okay, so now we've got the powder coating that image all over. Okay, it looks really dull at the moment, that's absolutely fine. And we're going to tip away this this excess powder. Just don't want that going everywhere, because it does this stuff. It's amazing. Even with this tray thing, it just seems to find its way in all sorts of places. I'm going to keep that handy because we haven't finished with this yet. So ordinarily you would go and heat set that, but I haven't finished. So we're going to come in with the seedlings. And again, we're going to light tap over the ink pad, just bringing in some scraps, so because I'm going to go over the edges a bit, so I don't want the ink to go on my work surface. And I'm just filling in around the top here twisting the stamp as I go to add some visual interest. Just avoiding the in fact I might stop like that. Oh no, there might be just one here there. Okay. So, finish with the Versa mark for the moment, and now I'm going to bring in some clear powder. Okay, so I use clear powder quite a lot, so I've got it in a large. So if you're careful where you sprinkle this, oh that's a bit close, but it'll be fine. It shouldn't knock off the white that's already there, but it won't matter if it does slightly. So I'm just doing this gently because I don't want to sprinkle it over the other bits if I don't need to. Oops. So just check that you've got all the bits of ink covered, which it looks like I have. I am going to tip this away straight away because otherwise it will end up everywhere. Okay. Pop that to one side. So this needs to be heated, and that is quite noisy. So it would. What I'm going to do is pause it here. Okay, so you can see that it's all really dull and doesn't look particularly interesting right now. Okay, but I'm going to go away and just heat set that, and I'll show you what that looks like when I come back. Okay, just give me one moment. Okay, and we're back. So what I've done there is used my heat tool, and I've melted all that powder, and now there's a little bit of a sheen to it. So embossing powder is essentially plastic, and you melt it and it becomes shiny. Okay, so that all looks great as it is, but as you can see there's another stage there to get it to where it is there. I need some scrap paper, and we are going to cover the whole thing in Just Jade ink. Okay, we could use some sponging tools and brushes and things like that, but that takes quite a long time. So we're actually going to go direct to paper, which means basically swiping this all the way over the image, and you're going to think, oh my goodness, she's gone crazy. But this is what we're going to do. Now, the original had a bit of sort of splotchiness to it and stuff because I did use a sponge, and it just it doesn't give you a very even coverage. Whereas this is going to give us a really, really strong and even coverage. Okay, if you want to use a sponge and get more texture, please do. You still might want to go over some of the little bits of detail. With a sponge, just where it hasn't quite picked up, like here. Those two images were quite close together, so it just needs a little bit of help with there. And then just using a blending brush or a sponge or something, you can just add in to spots where you think it needs a little bit more. So down the bottom here where it's quite solid, I'm just using this because the ink is going to be obviously very, very wet. So I just want to prevent myself getting too messy. Okay, I'm happy enough with that. Get this mucky paper out the way, and this is what we are left with. So that obviously is going to take a little time to dry. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just give it a quick oh, do you know what else I need to do? I need to give it a wipe first before that ink totally dries. I'm just going to use a dampened, and I mean dampened, not hardly any moisture at all, just literally enough to and if you wipe over your embossing, any ink sitting on the top will be wiped away, and it just brightens it up a little bit, so a little bit has come off there. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a quick run over with the heat tool just to get that to completely dry. Okay. Okay, so that's nice and dry, or mostly dry anyway, just so that we can get the rest of the card constructed. Okay, so applying the direct to paper ink does make it come out darker, whereas this one I sponged a little bit and you can just see there is a bit more texture in there. Entirely up to you which method you would prefer to use. Right, we're going to use some Stampin' Seal to adhere this to our white panel. Just going to put a little bit extra on because the moisture and the heating does make the card bow a little bit, so I'm just putting a little bit extra in the centre there. Make sure that middle bit sticks down, and then making sure your borders are even is a little more tricky when the paper is a little bit wonky itself from the heating, so I think it's somewhere there. Oh. She says, keeps moving on me. There we are. There or thereabouts anyway. Okay, so that's our white layer. We're going to bring in some ribbon. This ribbon is from the Flowers for Every Season combo. It comes with some, is it from there? Yeah, it is. The gingham jade and some misty moonlight twine with silver running through it, which is gorgeous. So a length to go around there and a length to tie a knot. And then we're going to secure this ribbon round here across the bottom of the little doodahs. So there we go. So a little bit of tape on the back there will help with the secure that in place. Like so. Okay, and then we'll put that onto our card base. So again, just oops, plenty of adhesive. If you get only on your mat, it just rubs off. So this is mint macaron card base, cut and scored in the traditional way. The score line isn't exactly halfway on a, that doesn't look right at all, but anyway. So you just want to make sure you're doing it on the front. I thought I hadn't, so that's fine. There we are. Good sharp crease on the top will make sure that it stands up. Okay, our length of ribbon that we're going to tie in a knot, we're going to do a square knot. So we do right over left, over right, and you should end up with a nice knot, and that can move down the ribbon to fit against the sentiment when we're ready to put it on. The sentiment we're going to stamp onto mint macaron cardstock, and we're going to use the same just jade ink, and we'll bring in the sentiment from the same stamp set, sending well wishes your way. Again, very pertinent for the time. So we'll put that there. Just firm pressure, straight down, straight up. Okay, and there's our image. And I'm going to use this beautiful punch. This is the Label Me Lovely punch. Really cute. So the other one, I stamped the sentiment the other way around, so it's sat in the label the other way. Just changing it up slightly, but it fits either way. Just making sure that the text is level with those straight edges at the top and bottom of the punch, and I want it to be equidistant from there. So just spend a moment, and it looks all very tedious, but if you don't get it right and it's wonky on your punch, it's going to show. Okay, just there, I think. So there was a few things I was trying to get lined up then. So the text is obviously in a straight line with that straight line, and then the distance between this W and this S, I wanted that to be even. I felt like my original sample, it was a bit too far over. You do occasionally get some little fluffies on the end of anything that you cut, either with a punch or a trimmer and whatever. But if you use one of these nail block things, you can actually sand away those little fluffy bits. Usually from the back is the best. That just tidies that up a little bit. Okay. We will have a dimensional at the top and the bottom to sort of straddle that ribbon. And a bit of tape across the middle for good measure in case it comes into contact. And we can place this sentiment now where we want it. So I think we're just going to go with that. Oh, didn't take my backings off. Who spotted that? But you're all thinking she hasn't taken the backings off that. That ain't going to stick. And you'd be right. Draw that. There we go. Oh, that's not straight neither, is it? That's a bit better. Okay, and then this knot can be moved along there. Okay, and you can tidy up your ends and mess about with it and do all that thing. But that will do for the moment. And then embellishment wise, I've brought out these wonderful, these are the Elegant Faceted gems. They actually coordinate with the Prized Peony suite of products. It doesn't mean to say you have to use them together though, of course. I used the white ones on the original sample. Just wondering what the clear would look like. So obviously the clear will take on that kind of, they're a bit chameleon, if you like, and they will blend in to the background a little more, so it's a bit more subtle. Okay, again, up to you. There's a million and one other things you could use. You could use pearls, you could colour those pearls in mint macaron ink if you have Stampin' blends or something like that to tie it all together. All sorts of things you could put on there. Rhinestones, again, you could colour them if you wanted to. So those are a little more subtle, but they twinkle away in the light. And this is the original. So direct to paper on the background gives you a much darker result than the sponging, gives you a bit more of a mottled effect. It's your choice which you prefer. Use the white accents on this one as opposed to the clear. So things to mess about with, and the orientation of this label was changed as well. Exactly the same shape, but I just switched it around. Again, up to you entirely which you prefer. And there's also obviously lots of different dies or other punches that you could use to stamp that sentiment. And then of course you could do it in a completely different colourway too. Entirely up to you. Thank you very much for joining me today. Click below for blog posts and shop links and all that jazz. And if you have liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, so you'll be notified when I post new videos. Thanks ever so much, everybody. Have a great day. I'll see you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.